Today I'm going to teach you how to simplify algebraic expressions. So you have learned already how to make equivalent expressions by distribution. And today we're going to look at some different types of expressions, including expressions with fractions, expressions with decimals, and I'm going to show you how we can simplify those expressions. Okay, so to simplify algebraic expressions, we are going to use properties of operations to write equivalent expressions that have no like terms or parentheses. So, what is a like term? A like term have the same variable. Okay? So, like terms. Here's an example. 2y and y are like terms because they both have the variable y. A like term does not have to have a variable though. So another like term could just be a whole number. So for example, 4 and 3. Those are like terms because they are both whole numbers. So let me show you an expression. We have 4z minus z plus z minus 2z. So in this example, example 1, we're going to count our terms first. Remember, a term is determined by the plus and minus signs, right? So the minus and the plus signs separate the terms. So in this expression, we have 1, 2, 3. We have 4 terms. And now I'm going to see which terms are like terms. Do they have the same variable? Are they just a whole number? So I see term 1 has a z, term 2 has a z, term 3 has a z, and term 4 has a z. So these are all like terms. So in this example, they're all like terms. Okay? So what do I do to simplify this? How do I make this easier to read? I combine all of the like terms. So that's what we're going to be doing when we are simplifying algebraic expressions is we're going to combine, put that over here, combine like terms. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to circle the terms and the sign in front of them. This does not have a sign, so this is just a 4. I circle the z with the minus sign in front of it, the z with the plus sign, and the z with the the 2z with the negative sign or subtraction sign. Okay, so this just means I have a positive 4, a negative z, a positive z, and a negative 2z. But when I say positive and negative, don't get confused. I know that sounds intimidating, but it's not. And I'm going to show you why. So what do? I'm going to combine these together. Okay. So what is 4 minus, and remember z just means 1. So I'm going to put a 1 in front of that. What is 4 minus 1? Well, 4 minus 1 is going to give me 3. And I have to remember the z. Okay. And then I have 3z plus, remember z is 1, plus 1z. What is 3z plus 1z? 3 plus 1 is 4z. And then I have minus 2z. So I'm just going to take my minus sign and put that after here and subtract the 2z. So now I have 4 minus 2. That gives me 2z. So when I simplify this entire expression, I'm combining all of my like terms and I'm going to get a simplified algebraic expression of just 2z. Okay, let's do another one that has a fraction. I have, let's see, example 2. I have n plus 2n plus 2/3 n plus 4. So let's see how many terms I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. And now I'm going to see, well, which terms are like terms? These 3 terms all have an n in them. So the first 3 terms are all going to be like terms. I can combine all of those together. I cannot combine the 4 because it does not have n as a variable. This is a whole number, so this is going to stand on its own. The only ones I'm going to combine are the ones that have the n. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Well, let's start over here. I have n, that represents 1n. So what is 1n plus 2n? That's going to give me 3n. So now I have 3n plus 2/3 n. What is 3 plus 2/3? Well, that one's easy because it's a whole number and a fraction. So all I have to do is put the whole number in front of the fraction. So this is going to give me 3 2/3 n. Okay, so now all of my like terms have been combined. 3 2/3 n. But I have to remember this last term over here, which is a whole number. So all I do is I bring that down, plus 4. So when I simplified this expression, 1n plus 2n plus 2/3 n plus 4, I combine all the like terms, and my simplified expression is 3 2/3 n plus 4. Okay, so that's how we do it with fractions. If we have a decimal, okay, so I'm going to show you another one. Example 3. 2.5 or 2 5/10 times 2x plus 5x minus 3. Okay, here we have a whole number multiplied. Remember, when there's nothing here and it's next to parentheses, this means multiplication. Multiplied by 2x plus 5x minus 3. So now we have to remember, we have to distribute this first before we can combine any like terms. Okay, so I'm going to distribute first, and I'm going to distribute to all 3 of these. Okay, remember this is going to be multiplication. So I have to go back to everything that I learned at the beginning of the year about multiplying decimal numbers. So I'm going to do that off to the side here. 2 5/10 times 2. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. I count the number of places to the right, and I put my decimal point back in. So for this term, when I multiply it, when I distribute this, I'm going to get 5.0. I can write 5.0x or just 5x. It's the same thing. 5x. Okay, I'm going to do the next one. 2.5 or 2 5/10 times 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. Count the number of places to the right. Move my decimal point back in. My answer is 12 5/10. So I have to remember it's addition, plus 12 5/10 x. I can't forget the x. Okay. Now I have to distribute to my last term over here. Let's see if I can do this. This one over here. I'm running out of room. 2 5/10 times the number 3. 5 times 3 is 15, carry the 1. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 1 is 7. Count the number of places, move my decimal point back in. I have 7 and 5/10. So minus 7 and 5/10. Okay. So now here's my new expression after I distributed. I have 5x plus 12 and 5/10 x minus 7 and 5/10. I'm still not done yet. I distributed, but look, I still have 2 x's here. So that means that these two are like terms. So I have to combine the 12 and 5/10 and the 5 so that I only have 1 x in there. I don't want to have 2 like terms, okay? So remember, this is a whole number 5. So when I add this, 12 and 5/10 plus 5, I can write as a decimal point, right? So I have to remember not to put the 5 here and the tenths place. I have to put it over here. So 5 plus 0 is 5. 5 plus 2 is 7. 1 plus nothing is 1. And when I'm adding decimals, that's when I bring down the decimal point. So 5x plus 12 and 5/10 x is 17 and 5/10 x. And now I look over here and I still have another term, minus 7 and 5/10, but there's no variable here. So I don't have to do anything with that. I just have to bring that down, minus 7 and 5/10. So I have simplified my expression from 2 and 5/10 times 2x plus 5x minus 3 to 17 and 5/10 x minus 7 and 5/10. So when you are simplifying expressions, make sure you are combining all like terms, okay? You can do it with whole numbers, you can do it with fractions, and you can also do it with decimals. So that is what we're going to be practicing today. How can we simplify algebraic expressions? By combining like terms.